I have been in rooms where everything changed in under 30 seconds. Not because of what someone said, because of what they did, quietly, without knowing anyone was watching. Here are the 10 small behaviors that the upper class notice immediately. 1. The relationship between your appearance on an ordinary day and your appearance when you expect to be seen. A grooming editor I worked with for 7 years in New York, she spent a decade advising the wardrobe and image departments of 4 significant American fashion houses, said something plainly that I have never forgotten. There are women whose appearance is always a decision. And there are women whose appearance is what was left over after the decision was skipped. The difference between them is never money. It is the private standard they hold on the days when no one significant is coming. Research from the Journal of Consumer Psychology on appearance consistency and social trust found that individuals whose grooming and presentation were rated as consistent across observed days, rather than elevated only for notable occasions, were perceived as significantly more reliable, more confident, and more likely to be trusted with responsibility. The upper class notice inconsistency with precision because they have been surrounded their entire lives by women for whom there is no distinction between a significant Thursday and an ordinary one. The woman who is impeccably presented at a gala but visibly indifferent on a Tuesday communicates something she did not intend to, that her standard is performed, not held. The internal shift this requires is not about effort. It is about a decision made once, privately, without ceremony, that ordinary days are worth the same standard as significant ones, because the woman living them is worth it. Every day, not just the ones with an audience. 2. How you handle the moment before you speak. A venture capitalist I know, she has backed 4 companies past 100 million, told me something I have never forgotten. She said, "The most dangerous person in any negotiation is not the one who speaks first. It is the one who doesn't need to." A study from Columbia Business School on executive presence and perceived authority found that the individuals rated highest in credibility and command were not those who spoke most. They were those who demonstrated the capacity to sit in silence before responding, and did so consistently, not just in high-stakes moments. Here is what I have watched this produce in rooms I have been in. When a woman speaks before she has collected herself, the room hears urgency. When she pauses, just briefly, just deliberately, the room hears certainty. The pause is not hesitation. It is the quiet signal that what is about to be said has been chosen, and chosen words carry a different weight than reflexive ones. The practice is simple and most women never use it. Before you respond to anything, a question at a dinner, a comment at a meeting, even a compliment in the corridor, take one breath. Not dramatically, not visibly, simply as a private act of composure before you give the room your words. The upper class notice its presence immediately. They notice its absence even faster. If this kind of internal curriculum is what you are looking for, the specific, unglamorous work that produces the woman you have always known you could be, I created something for exactly this. It is called the Undeniables Blueprint. 30 days, 4 phases. The complete internal curriculum I wish I had been handed 20 years ago. It is currently available to this community at $47. If you are ready, the link is below. I would love to see you inside. 3. The speed at which you move through a space. A woman I worked with for years, she spent a decade at the director level of one of the most significant auction houses in the world, told me that she could identify, within 30 feet, which women had grown up with money and which had not. Not by their clothes, by their pace. Women who have grown up in environments of quiet privilege, she said, move through rooms as if they are expected. Not slowly, not dramatically, but without urgency. Research published in the Journal of Experimental Social Psychology on movement and perceived status found that individuals who modulated their walking pace, moving deliberately rather than rapidly, were rated significantly higher in perceived confidence, competence, and social standing by observers who had no prior knowledge of those individuals. The difference between urgency and intention is small in practice and enormous in signal. Urgency says, I am behind. I am reactive. I am trying to keep up. Intention says, I have arrived at the moment I chose to arrive at. Notice your pace the next time you enter a room. Notice whether you are moving at the room's speed or your own. The women who hold the attention of the upper class without trying, they are always moving at their own. 4. The direction of your eyes when you are not speaking. I was at a private dinner in Midtown last spring. 8 people at the table. A woman to my left, a senior partner at a firm that manages legacy family wealth, barely said 12 words all evening. And yet she was the person everyone at that table walked away talking about. I watched her. Her eyes never wandered. When someone spoke, she looked at them. Not politely, not briefly, completely. Research from the University of Chicago on high-status social behavior confirmed what I've been watching for 15 years. The individuals perceived as most authoritative in group social settings are not necessarily the ones who speak with the most confidence. They are the ones who listen with the most visible attention. The eyes are the tell. Women who have been trained in elite environments, privately educated, raised in old money households, shaped by European finishing traditions, are taught before anything else that their gaze is a gift, that giving it fully and withdrawing it deliberately is one of the primary tools of social authority. Most women's eyes drift when they are not speaking, to their phones, to the room, to their own internal monologue. Each drift signals unconsciously, unavoidably, that the present moment does not hold their complete attention. The quietly exceptional woman has decided that it does. Every time. 5. What you do with your hands when you are listening. A hand surgeon I know, she works with professional musicians and executives in New York, told me something that reframed everything I thought I understood about the physicality of presence. She said, "The hands are the most honest part of the body. The face can be trained. The hands cannot." Research from the Journal of Nonverbal Behavior on hand behavior and perceived social status found that individuals who concealed their hands, folding them under their arms, hiding them in their lap, tucking them beneath the table, were consistently rated lower in perceived trustworthiness and authority than those whose hands remained visible and relaxed. Visible hands signal nothing to hide. Hidden hands signal to the subconscious of everyone watching that something is being withheld. Here is what I have observed at every significant dinner, every board meeting, every social environment where social reading is acute. The women who own the room keep their hands visible, on the table, on their lap, unhidden, unclenched, resting, not performing stillness, simply at ease with being seen. Your hands are always communicating. The question is only whether you have decided what they say. 6. How you receive unexpected praise in public. A woman in my network, she chairs the advisory board of a nonprofit that operates across 4 continents, told me once that she could predict with striking accuracy which women in a room were still performing confidence and which had earned it. The test, she said, was a compliment. Specifically, what happens in the 4 seconds after one is given publicly. A study from Stanford's Social Behavior Lab on compliment response and perceived social confidence found that women who deflected compliments, "Oh, this is so old," "I've had better days," "You're too kind," were rated significantly lower in perceived self-assurance than those who received compliments with direct, composed acknowledgement. The deflection communicates, unintentionally, that the compliment is incorrect, that the woman receiving it does not believe she deserves it. And that signal, quiet as it is never lost in rooms that read people carefully. The women who have grown up in environments of quiet privilege were taught something specific, that receiving a compliment is an act of grace, not ego. That thank you, simply, directly, without qualification, is both the most elegant and the most confident response available. Nothing before it, nothing after it. The pause, the look, and 2 words. That is all. 7. Whether you know the names of the people who serve you. This one carries no subtlety. I have sat at tables with women from some of the wealthiest families in the country. Old money, European educated, multiple generations of real privilege, and not one of them has ever failed to know and use the name of the person serving them. Not because they were performing egalitarianism, because it had never occurred to them to treat a person in a service role as anonymous. A study from Harvard Business School on social class and interpersonal behavior found that individuals from generationally privileged backgrounds were more, not less likely than newly affluent individuals to demonstrate consistent courtesy and recognition across all social levels. The explanation is not generosity. It is security. Women who are genuinely at ease with who they are have nothing to prove by ignoring the room's invisible people. It is precisely the women who are still negotiating their place at the table who fail to notice the people who said it. The upper class notice this asymmetry immediately. It tells them everything they need to know about whether the woman across from them has arrived or is still trying to. 8. The condition of your hands when you extend them. A study from the Journal of Cosmetic Dermatology found that women whose hands appeared well-maintained, clean, moisturized, nails consistently tidy regardless of length or color, were rated as significantly more competent and more trustworthy in first impression assessments. Not more beautiful, more competent. The Madre, at a Relais and Chateau property I know in New York, told me he has watched a handshake end a relationship before dinner was ordered. Your hands are the first thing extended when you meet someone who matters. They are the detail most women neglect precisely because it requires daily maintenance rather than a single purchase. Women who have been raised in environments where standards are held privately, not performed for company, not elevated for occasion, maintain their hands on a Tuesday morning with the same care they would bring to a significant dinner. That consistency is the signal. Chipped nails at a social encounter in the upper class do not go unnoticed. They are filed, quietly, and without comment, as information. 9. How long you stay in a room after you have said what you came to say. A woman in my network is one of the most sought-after guests in New York. People arrange their dinner parties around her availability. I asked her once what she believed made her so consistently memorable in rooms where everyone was accomplished. She said, "I always leave before they want me to." Research on social dynamics and perceived desirability from the University of Pennsylvania's psychology department found that individuals who exited social interactions at or before the peak of engagement, rather than after energy begun to fall, were rated significantly higher in social desirability by those they had interacted with. The instinct in most women, especially women who have spent years overgiving in social situations, is to stay, to fill space, to be available until the last possible moment. The women who are quietly exceptional have learned the precise opposite. They close interactions deliberately. They leave with energy remaining, theirs and the room's. And the room spends the rest of the evening thinking about what they said, rather than watching them leave. 10. Whether you apologize before you have done anything wrong. This one I have tracked for 15 years, and it remains one of the most consistent class markers I have ever observed. Women from quietly privileged backgrounds do not pre-apologize. They do not begin sentences with "I'm sorry," but before stating a clear opinion. They do not say "this might be a silly question" before asking something entirely reasonable. They do not apologize for their order, their preference, their presence, or their opinion before any of those things have caused inconvenience to anyone. Research from Linguistic Society of America studies on gendered apology patterns and perceived authority found that preemptive apologies, apologies offered before any offense has occurred, are among the strongest predictors of low perceived social confidence in women over 40, and they are disproportionately common. The apology, in this context, is not politeness. It is a preemptive bid for approval that signals to every room that is paying attention that the speaker does not believe she has the right to take up space. Women who have grown up knowing they belong do not ask permission to speak before speaking. They simply speak, clearly, specifically, without preamble. The upper class notice the apology immediately. What they remember is its absence. Here's what I want you to do. Pick 3 of these behaviors. The 3 that produce the sharpest recognition when you read them. Not the 3 you think are most important, the 3 that felt most personally specific. Write them down tonight. Then practice exactly one of them in your very next social interaction, a conversation, a dinner, a meeting, wherever you're going next. Come back and tell me, I practiced number, and this is what I noticed. I read every one of those comments. Every one. If you want to go deeper, The complete internal curriculum, 30 days, built around exactly this kind of specific, unglamorous, permanent work. The Undeniables blueprint is below. The women who are already inside are building something real. I'll see you in the next one. Isabel.